Hello and welcome back to another week of Sambo iRacing. We are back in the Mazda MX-5, this time at Sonoma Sports Car alternative layout for yet another track guide. Now this guide is for the open production car series, so if you want to race the exact setup being driven by myself in this track guide or any of the variants, be they qualifying, endurance, so everything like that, then you can go to our website sambosetups.com or you can go to our Patreon page. There are links to both in the description. Any questions, let me know in the comments, and as always we're going to do a hot lap, then a breakdown lap, then we will be back in the cockpit one final time with the driving line on. Right, let's go. So here we are smashing it down the main straight, and we are going to start lifting as we go under this bridge, and then we get back on the brakes. Just very careful in second gear as we reapply that gas pedal up to third. We're going to do a lift to go through the first bit, and now just a tiny dab on the brakes, down to second, back on the gas. We're going to get on the brakes at the end of this curving, and we're going to drop it all the way down to first gear. And again, just a little bit of counter steering there as you're going through it. We're going to go absolutely flat as we go through this corner, and we're looking to go over the crest. And as we get there, we're going to take an inside line, and we're just going to lightly go on the brakes, drop it down to second. We're just feathering that throttle until we can see the end of the corner in sight, and we're back on the gas. Going to head over to the left-hand side. Right, as we get alongside these billboards, we're going to get on the brakes, up to about 85%, drop it down to second. We're going to take a really, really wide line, and now lightly on the brakes, drop it down to first, just kiss that curb, well, give it a good old slap, I suppose. And now we're up through the gears once again. We're going to take this left-hander flat out, but then we're going to have to do a lift for the right-hander. And now back on the gas. Could have probably gone slightly earlier there. We're up to fourth gear. We are going to have to do a very slight dab on the brakes to go around here. Back on the gas in fourth gear. Don't go too early. You'll end up in that gravel. And now on the brakes a final time. Again, up to about 70%. We're going to trail that off down to first. Smoothly-ish back on the gas. Smoothly for me, that is. And we're just going to pin our ears back for the line. And over and across we go in a 1:47.1. We have the breakdown lap coming up next. Down lap. So crossing the line in third, changing up to fourth. We're going to go underneath this bridge, and then we're going to do a lift to there. And just holding it at around that until we get to this first curb. Then we're going to briefly go on the brakes up to about 60%. We're going to trail that off and try and pick back up on the gas when our right-hand tyres are just on that curbing. But I don't reach 100% till I know I'm going to meet the actual exit of the corner. Go up through the gears. And again, we're just doing a lift to get through this first part of it. And then I very, very slightly just dab the brakes just to get that weight moving over the front tyres. And then we're just wanting to cut that corner slightly, literally an inch further to the right. There is an off track. And then we're back on the gas. Right, once we're getting to the edge or the end of this curbing on the left-hand side, that's when we get on the brakes. And again, up to about 80%, briefly, quick trail off. I drop it down to first at this curb on the right-hand side. And then we're trying to get straight back on the gas. Going to head over to the right-hand side, and what we're looking for is once we're alongside this Marshall's hut or we get to the crest of this hill, we're going to just lightly go on the brakes to about 20%, bit of counter steering, and we're just holding those brakes up until around here, and that's when we're going to start inputting a little bit of gas in second gear. We're waiting to see the end of that curbing before going up to 100%. Now back up through the gears. Now it does look very open, but because it's off camber, that corner really does tighten. Now, as we come into turn 9, once we're alongside these billboards on the left-hand side, that's when I get on the brakes, up to about 85%. We're trying to just kiss that first apex here because we sort of consider it as 2 corners to go through. This is 9. We want a really wide entry. Once we get to here, we're going to lightly go on the brakes, drop it down to first. I could have probably been wider so as not to give this curb as big a slap. Could have gotten on the gas earlier, probably cost me a tenth or two. But these wibbly wobbly bits we can do absolutely flat out until now, and now we're going to do a lift in third gear, and then we're back on 100% as our right hand tyres are on that curb. And then as we get to the end of this curbing on the left, we're going to do a lift and we go on the brakes up to about 10%. Back on the gas in 4th gear. And then what we're looking for here is it's sort of the end of this red O'Reilly auto parts is we're going to get on the brakes and again up to about 70-75% and just try and hold it, trail it off in 1st gear, and now we're trying to get back on the gas as early as possible. I don't know, a tiny little lift at the end of that. And that shall conclude the breakdown lap of the Mazda MX-5 at Sonoma Sports Car Alternate. We've got one final version coming up next with the driving line on and without me chunnering away, so enjoy.